Good night. My name is Santiago Reyes. This video is to narrate my story for the language charts partial. Unfortunately, I would not be able to narrate the whole story in less than 5 minutes, so I'll just be reading the first part of the story, which should take a little less than 5 minutes. With that being said, I hope you enjoy. After I finally got my PhD in dentistry, my parents kicked me out of their basement to motivate and persuade me into finding a stable job. This turned out to be a horrendous idea on their part. I was away for the very first time in my 32-year existence, which intrigued me and excited me at first, but I soon realized the struggle for survival I would be facing for the next several weeks. When I was removed from my relative's property, I had nothing with me but a backpack with some old unwashed clothes, an Nokia cell phone from the year 2001, and a wallet with nothing more than $78.32. I began my journey to East Central New York with hopes of finding a vacant job position to fill. I walked for around 20 minutes to the nearest subway station and headed away from what was my home for my entire life. I arrived at 6:30 p.m., walked out of the subway station into a crowded street filled with lost voices and with no knowledge of where I was. I couldn't avoid the panic attack that ensued. I was lost in a sea full of people when I regained control of myself, and I walked into a coffee shop where I would spend the next hour resting from the tiresome ride that I took. Upon entering the premises, I was greeted by a beautiful young woman who proceeded to offer me a drink. I agreed to purchase one of these beverages, a decision I'd later regret. When I was done resting and drinking, I stood up and asked the lady about the nearest dentist office. She proceeded to ask one of her co-workers, who happened to know that the nearest one was about 45 minutes away from there. Afterwards, I think both of them had left the premises. I was eager to arrive at the dentist office, but knew that by the time I got there, the place would be closed down. I would have been able to sprint there, but there would be no time to ask about job opportunities there. Besides that, I was also extremely tired from the journey I took, so I figured that the most logical thing to do was head over there and shamefully sleep on an empty street next to a funky-smelling trash can somewhere near the office. Saddened, I got to my destination at around 9 p.m. and found a corner to sleep on, which is exactly how I spent the first of many rough nights. I was woken up by the rising sun. At this time, the dentist's office was still closed. It would remain this way for the next hour and a half. I spent this wonderfully awful time contemplating the fact that I was now homeless. Never in my life have I stopped in front of a homeless man and gave him a dime, and now I quickly realized that it might be me who needs those dimes now. The office finally opened, and as to not look desperate, I waited for around 20 minutes. The time had finally come. I stepped into this dimly lit hallway that led into an empty desk. I rang the bell that sat on top of this desk, and a 6-foot-tall guy came bursting through the door as if he was running from a serial killer. With sweat running down his forehead, he greeted me. We arranged a meeting for me to meet the doctor who would interview me and give me the opportunity that I really needed. This would be the most important moment of my life. When it was finally time for the meeting, I went through the same hallway and was now welcomed by a woman. I told her that I had an appointment with the doctor. She found my name on the office's computer and opened the door for me to walk through. I wandered into a white room that was frighteningly quiet. I found the room to be off-putting, and I also found a chair to sit on to wait for the doctor to come in. When he finally did, he shook my hand and introduced himself as Dr. Wiltmore. The pale gentleman asked me a couple of questions about my background in dentistry and medicine, which I answered as best I could. My lack of experience was unimpressive at best, but I was hoping that I would accumulate that with the job. He finished the interview by asking why I looked so rough, to which I responded, I was recently kicked out by my parents, made my way east, and found myself in this part of New York. I was recommended this facility by a coffee shop employee, and I was unable to get here on time, so I had to sleep out on the street all night. He interpreted this as me being homeless, which wasn't untrue, but it was certainly offensive. He asked me for my phone number and told me that he would call me back if they found me to be fitting for the company. This call would never take place. That is the first part of the story. There's a lot more to it. I just don't have time to read all of that right now. But I would like to thank you for listening to the story, and I hope you enjoyed it.